quarantined here in his sports barn. It is Friday, May 8th. I think it's Friday, May 8th. And it's about, I don't know, quarter after 1 in the afternoon here. So it's been a while since I've made a video just because my content is, I don't really have any. First time joining us, thanks for being here. The purpose of the channel is we make against the spread sports picks, college basketball, college football, baseball, and pro football, of which there hasn't been any in over 2 months. So 2 months? Has it been, not quite 2 months. I guess the lockdown, we're going on 2 months now of this ridiculous lockdown. I'm going to do my best here not to just gloom and doom you and blame you for locking me in the barn. As my brother, who you've met on some previous videos, points out to me, I am badly in the minority as far as what we need to do here. I say open up the economy, open it up 4 weeks ago, and I'm accused of being a murderer and all other sort of things. So I'll just keep my thoughts to myself. Really, my thoughts right now are just a bunch of badly formed ideas and tidbits that don't really have anything to say to you. I just figured I needed to throw something out there just so, you know, you had something to remember me by while we wait for some kind of sports to start. I know there's Korean baseball. I haven't. It's on in the middle of the night, which is really no excuse for me because I'm up in the middle of the night. I can turn it on rather than watching the latest Mystery Science Theater rerun, MST 3000. If you never watched that, it's an acquired taste. I like it. So what do we have here? Last video we made, we talked about the NFL draft. I guess the NFL has announced their schedule. I just can't work up the slightest interest in that. It just, it just doesn't. My brother, again, who you met in the previous video, I think he takes a day off generally before the video comes, or the schedule comes out, so he can properly, declare it a national holiday. He actually takes days off every year without fail. He takes the week off after the Super Bowl every year. Takes those days off because, he expects the Eagles will have won the Super Bowl. Well, I guess it paid off once, out of like 30 years he's done it. At any rate, where was I going with that? So no real NFL news. I guess that everybody is forced to be watching this Michael Jordan, what is it, a 20-hour, 10-hour documentary, 10-part documentary on Michael Jordan and his last season in the NBA. Apparently what they did was they just shot all this footage 20 years ago during Jordan's 97-98, was that the year? I guess it was, season. That would have been his second retirement. He retired originally to go play baseball. Then he was off a year and a half. Then he came back. Then he won 3 more titles. And then at the end of, this is his 6th title year, the 98 season, concluding in June of 98. That's the season that they're documenting. And of course, then they've got all sorts of other contemporary footage of them talking to the players now, 20 years later, asking them about, well, do you remember the time when Dennis Rodman went to Las Vegas? That sort of stuff. I mean, it's better than watching nothing sports related, although I think I've hit my Jordan limit. I get it. A great player. I do watch it somewhat just from the standpoint of trying to put it into a handicapping context and trying to say, okay, this guy was clearly one of the great winners of all time. Although perhaps, I don't know the answer to this. What kind of an against the spread record did Michael Jordan have? Which is all we really care about. Is there value there when you're placing a bet? I know Jordan's going to win. Everybody knows that. That's why the guy's like a 17-point favorite. So, there might not be any value there. But, just watching him being interviewed and trying to get a feel for his personality, how does that jive with him being one of the great winners of all time? He certainly doesn't sound like a guy you'd like to sit down and have a beer with. He's not a man of the people, I think it's fair to say. I think maybe the saying, nice guys finish last, there's some ring of truth to that. Anyway, so you got the Jordan documentary, you got Korean baseball. My brother Mark tells me that the NBA, that's rumored they're ready to pack it in, that they simply cannot come to any kind of a solution to conclude their season. I don't really care. I'm not an NBA fan at the moment. But boy, if they were the only ones to come out and say, we're going to play some ball, I guess I'd become an NBA fan fast. I think what's happening is just no one wants to go first. Everybody's terrified of being, they can read the public opinion polls just like Mark reads them to me. You're in the minority. Apparently so. I'm surprised by that, but the NBA's afraid that, well, we're going to come out, we're going to play these games, and we'll make this much money because we're playing games, but we might lose this much money because now suddenly our brand is, tarred and feathered. We're murderers. We're uncaring. We don't care about safety. So they're afraid. I'm not sure, I do blame them. At some point you just got to go out and play. So somebody's got to be first. Baseball, I don't know. I read an article said they're all optimistic, but then they still can't answer the most basic question. A player asked them, I think the article I read, some player asked them on a teleconference call, so what happens if one of us tests positive? And they still don't have an answer. It's the most basic question that the whole thing revolves around. And if their answer is anything other than we stick you over there, we quarantine you for 3-4 weeks, we test everybody, they test negative, great, we go back to work, well then the whole thing's doomed. And baseball just can't come around to saying that answer. So I'm pessimistic baseball's going to play. I kind of think that the one sport that might lead the way is college football. That's like the one sport where the money that's being lost is actually not going into some rich billionaire's pocket. The revenue from college football actually goes to teaching little Tommy and little Susie, getting them into college so they can learn about the migratory habits of the European swallow and whatever else they learn in college. It goes to tuition, it goes to professors, it goes to so Susie can play field hockey. The money actually does go to educate the youth of America in some fashion. I'm sure not all of it goes to that. I'm sure some of it's wasted and used for fraud and abuse and rich maybe millionaires. Billionaires, maybe millionaires. But some of that money goes to good causes. And it's going to hurt that it's not there. So maybe college football might be the ones that bite the bullet and go forward first. Here's to hoping somebody goes first. I think what I'm going to do is I've been waiting to kind of step forward here and do some preview videos on the teams. Like baseball, I could do a little preview video on all 30 teams. Maybe college football, I could certainly do the major conferences there. That would waste dozens of videos, if you will. Hell, if it is, I don't know when any of these seasons are going to start, if they're going to start at all. I could blow, I don't know how many hours of time screwing around with baseball, and then they don't play. So I haven't decided. I certainly want to do that. I haven't decided which I'm going to start with. I'm trying to fix my computer at the moment. Everything takes longer in this goddamn quarantine. You know, your computer craps out, and you should be able to swap it out with a new machine within days. Well, now days are weeks, and I ordered a new machine, and it'll be here the 5th of never. I already got a new machine that doesn't work. If you've ever used Newegg, don't. They suck. They probably have just a bunch of guys in their basement selling computers on that site, and sometimes they don't do their job, I guess. So, there's a random thought for you. What else? I guess I could go inside. My wife, I think, has organized some massive teleconference call for her job where all the big bosses are on the call. So I could go in and try to get her fired and embarrass her. Probably a stupid idea, I guess, since I'm depending on her paycheck. So maybe we won't do that. Trying to think, seemed like I had some other random thoughts in my head. Oh, I saw a documentary coming out about Roy Halladay. I think it might be an ESPN project, but I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's a documentary that you'll be able to watch at the end of the month on some medium. Probably television, some channel. But Halladay pitched in Philadelphia. I think he was good for 2 years, if my recollection's right. I think we got him in 10. Yeah, I think we got him in 10. And then he pitched for us in 2010, 2011. It was a 4-year deal. And then by 2012, he was shot. And he pitched not much at all in 12 and 13, and when he did pitch, he was terrible. I think the Phillies have retired this guy's number, which I think is a little odd. Like I said, he had 2 good years in Philadelphia. He didn't win anything. We got knocked out in both years in those playoffs. Halladay, I'll say this, I had some good times going to Phillies games when Roy Halladay was pitching. When that guy was on, I don't know if Phillies have ever had a starter in my lifetime that was that dominating. Even Steve Carlton, when he was on, he'd strike out a lot of batters, but he just wasn't, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Carlton would walk guys. He'd occasionally hang that slider. Johnny Bench sitting there. Johnny Bench killed Steve Carlton. And he would just sit there and wait for it. It's like, I know it's coming. Sooner or later, you're going to hang one of them. Bam! I know, that's a home run. Halladay, when he was on, damn near unhittable. I mean, there were nights he was unhittable. I remember his perfect game against the Marlins. I watched that game over at Brewers. That's a bar. That's one of those, where were you when? Well, it's the Brewers. The Flyers were playing the Blackhawks in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals 2 that night. So we had both games on. And then, of course, the no-hitter against the Reds is at that game. Probably the most memorable game I've ever been to. The loudest I've ever heard, Citizens Bank Ballpark, just in that 8th inning. It was deafening when he was on the mound. My brother and I, again, who you met, we'd had a couple in the parking lot. Okay, maybe more than a couple. And I started. I figured, well, let's get noisy here in like the 4th inning, because he was rolling. The Phillies had like a 4-0 lead, and I just felt like being drunk and stupid. So I'm yelling out every time he gets an out. what is it? And then Mark would jump in and we go, a no-hitter! And we did that from the 4th inning till it was over. And we had people in the 7th inning saying, you guys are going to jinx it, shut up. And I'm saying, we've been doing this for the last hour and a half. We're going to jinx it if we don't do it. We've got to take it all the way. I really honestly wasn't that worried about it. I thought he was going to do it. He was just that unhittable. They could not touch him that night. And what a game. What a game. Somewhere there's a guy walking around with a scorecard that sat in front of me. He said, if this actually goes all the way and he throws a no-hitter, you guys are signing my scorecard. So I signed that dude's scorecard. So that'll be worth nothing someday. But at any rate, that's my Roy Halladay story. So looking forward to that documentary at the end of the month. I'm sure they'll focus on mostly, the plane crash and every last drug he was on when he crashed the plane. At least he was by himself, Got that going for you. All right, so I don't know what else to say here. I'll try to come up with a schedule here of preview videos as far as baseball. I guess we'll do baseball. It's probably more likely than not that sport will go before college football. So I'll try to whip up something quick and dirty on each team just so we can kind of have an idea of, are we buying this team when they start playing, or are we selling them, there's certain teams that we're going to try to identify as value. This team we think is going to perform above expectations. Again, back to the Michael Jordan thing. There's no point in betting on Michael Jordan every game because you know he's going to win. Everybody knows that. There's no value there. So we're trying to find who is this year's Washington Nationals. Because that team, I think, if we look up the numbers from last year, probably, had the most value. I'll do that for you. We'll look up which teams had the most value last year. Comes to mind maybe the Twins. They had a real good unexpected year. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to find those unexpected teams, up or down. You can make money betting against a team. So that's what we're looking for. I guess it's time to go ahead and start doing that sort of thing, rather than just rambling on about nothing, which I've been doing here for, the past half hour. So, all right, very good. If this is the first time you've been here, sooner or later, we are going to pick games against the spread. I don't think this is going to last forever, I hope, even if this does turn into a complete fascist government where I've lost all my freedoms and we have a new constitution under Herr Fauci. Well, then he's still going to have some kind of sports just to distract the masses. And he'll probably let us bet on them because why not? So eventually there's going to be sports. We're going to predict who's the winners and who the losers are. We're going to bet on them. It'll be fun. It was fun. It was fun right to the point where they stopped playing. So it can't last forever. So come back as sports comes around. We'll be predicting and making against the spread picks, and that's the way that'll go. So, from me, Eric, the Biggie Arnold, to you, I'm not going to stay safe. That's the new code word. Yeah, everybody's doing that. What am I going to say? I don't know. I've never come up with a code word. Wash your hands. No. Good day, good gambling. How about that? Because there's nothing to gamble on. All right. Stay patient. That's a good one. Stay patient. Stay positive. Stay patient.